Hello students, I am Vipul Mittal, and in this session I will discuss material misstatement. So you are the auditor and you are auditing the financial statements, and you have to be reasonably sure that financial statements are free from material misstatement. Now, what is this material misstatement? So misstatements are considered to be material if there is a substantial likelihood that individually or in aggregate they would influence the judgment made by a reasonable user based on the financial statements. So if there is a substantial likelihood that a single misstatement or various misstatements considered together would influence the judgment. Whose judgment we are talking about? Judgment of a user. Judgment based on financial statements. What is the probability that if there is any one misstatement or various misstatements considered together would influence the judgment of a user? What is the probability? Substantial likelihood. For example, management states inventory at $600,000. You do your estimated calculation and get to a figure of $602,000. This is your estimate. There is a misstatement, you can say that. But is this difference of $2,000 would influence the judgment of a user of the financial statements? What is the likelihood? What is the probability that it would influence? You would say that it is not likely that it would influence the judgment of a user. It will have actually no impact. So we are here talking about probability. What is the probability that this would influence the judgment of a user? Let me take another example. Property, plant, and equipment is stated by management at $900,000. But management has not done impairment testing. And if management had done impairment testing, property, plant, and equipment should have been reported at $780,000. This is auditor's estimate. There is a misstatement. This amount, $900,000, is not as per GAAP. But is this material? What is the probability that this would influence the judgment of a user? Yes, there is a possibility because the amount is substantial. So this is a material misstatement. There is substantial likelihood. Here we are talking about probability, whether it is likely or not. So if it is likely that this misstatement would influence the judgment of a user, it is material misstatement. It is probable that this misstatement would influence the judgment of a user. It is a material misstatement then. But here you considered that it is not likely that this would influence the judgment of a user. This is not a material misstatement. This is not a material misstatement. Yes, here you can say that this is a material misstatement. Now, how you really determine that misstatement is material? So you have to consider all the facts and circumstances. So you have to consider all the facts and circumstances in determining whether a misstatement is material or not. So you have to consider both qualitative and quantitative factors. For example, management has done impairment testing of property, plant, and equipment. So management did impairment testing and recording an impairment loss. Now, under US GAAP, management is required to disclose the reason for this impairment loss. Management is required to disclose events and circumstances that led to impairment loss. So, what is the reason for this impairment loss? Management is required to make a disclosure regarding this under accounting standards. But management has not disclosed those reasons. So, there is an omission of disclosure. you may consider this a material misstatement. Or there is an incorrect description of an accounting policy regarding expenses. Or there is an incorrect description of an accounting policy regarding capitalization. There is an incorrect description of accounting policy regarding asset retirement obligation. There is an incorrect description of an accounting policy relating to any other significant item. You may consider an incorrect description of an accounting policy regarding a significant item as material misstatement, although it is qualitative in nature. A material misstatement may be due to quantitative factors. For example, management reported building at $300,000, but as per you, its value should be $120,000. Building is overstated. There is a misstatement. You may consider this a material misstatement. This is quantitative in nature. So a material misstatement may be both qualitative or quantitative. And you consider these qualitative and quantitative factors in determining whether a misstatement is material or not. And you make judgments about materiality in the light of surrounding circumstances. You consider all the facts and circumstances in making a decision that whether a misstatement is material or not. All right, students, I hope this session was helpful. Do watch more videos on material misstatement and auditor's opinion to get a complete understanding. Goodbye.